Start making your exit plan. What looked like the end was really the beginning. And I rebuilt my identity, created new streams of income. And now I've learned how AI systems can carry that heavy load. Now instead of just teaching, I help nurse leaders by building their systems and their businesses from brand to launch, right? And we use AI to do it.
Welcome to Nurses with Voices. I'm Dr. Lendra, your host and fellow nurse who's traded in burnout for breakthroughs. I'm here to show you how to transform your nursing career into one filled with purpose, reduced stress, and incredible opportunities. Whether you're looking to start your own business, build generational wealth, or simply find a healthier role in nursing, this podcast is for you. Join me to explore practical strategies to overcome burnout, combat bias, and chart new paths in nursing. It's time to reclaim your voice and reimagine your future in healthcare. Let's get started.
Welcome back to another episode of Nurses with Voices. I'm Dr. Lendra. This episode is brought to you by my Burnout to Business Blueprint. If you are a nurse leader ready to start your own profitable business in 90 days using AI-powered systems, you can download a free copy of the blueprint at dljamesconsulting.com. You can also head over to my LinkedIn profile where the blueprint is available in the featured section. I've been having a few conversations lately, and the conversations have really made me go back to talk a little bit about my journey. So today I want to share a little bit about my transformation with you. And this feeling of wanting to share my transformation, I think it may also come from my 4-year anniversary has come up on LinkedIn, and I've been getting a lot of the well wishes, that the support that people send, and I love it and I appreciate it, right? And I truly do. But it really makes me reflect, and it makes me reflect and consider how my story has really unfolded. So when we think about my framework, right? My motto is burnout to breakthrough. And I know that the podcast started with talks about burnout, and I still, consider myself the person who leads the burnout to breakthrough framework. But I was able to break through, and I truly believe that you can too. So I know I talk about it, and lately I've been feeling like I don't want to say that I don't align anymore. But that's my origin story. My origin story is someone who came from burnout, right? I was able to break through it. And I'll talk about conversations that I had recently. So one conversation was with a potential client, and I was speaking with her yesterday, and I see she really wants this. She really wants to start a home business and really get away from working for other people. She's well educated. She's very knowledgeable. She's been a nurse for many, 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 many years. And there's no reason why she can't do it. There's no reason why she can't start her own business. But there's a mindset piece that she has to get through. And in speaking with her, I've surmised that there's a huge mindset shift that needs to occur. And when you're going through burnout, there's levels to this, right? So you have people who are burnt out and starting their business is just not really on their agenda right now, right? Then you have people who are burnt out and it's just like, all right, they've gone through the stages, they've identified the trigger, right? They're aware of where it's all coming from. And now, as a part of their healing journey, they want to start their own business. And I help both, right? And this is what I mean. I can help you when you're at that stage of you're burned out and you need to identify your awareness, you need to break through the trauma, because I've said this in the past, burnout is a symptom. It's a symptom of exhaustion, symptoms of self-doubt. You're taking on a lot on everyone else and you're pouring into everyone else, and no one's refilling your cup. that's where the burnout starts to sit in. And then you have people who are, you know what, I'm burnt out. Okay, I realize that it's this job and I'm choosing me. And before I spiral down any further, I'm getting out and I'm going to start the business. And you need to be there. And when I talk about burnout to business, that's where you want to get to. You want to go to a place where you're ready to choose you. And in choosing you, you're going to do something or you're going to create a business that's going to be profitable and that's going to help you generate your generational wealth. And I've been thinking about these things lately, especially as, like I said, as the anniversary of DL James Consulting has come about. Because when I first left, I didn't know what I was going to do. I wasn't sure. I just knew that I couldn't be in that situation anymore. And a part of choosing me meant walking away from a system and processes that I knew that I was familiar with, I was considered an expert in, but it was getting to the point where it was just, I was no longer aligning and it was draining my energy. And I wasn't showing up as my best self. And that was when I knew that something had to change. And another conversation that I've had recently, and I'll tell you while I'm sharing this, someone mentioned to me about burnout, right? They shared with me something that they're sharing with their students, and it was a clip of a physician who was saying how everyone is calling everything burnout and it's not burnout. So theoretically, when we think about burnout, burnout is a symptom. So you can look at reports, you can look at different literature. There was an article by there was an article in NIH that talked about nurses' burnout and quality of life. And it gives this definition of burnout because burnout is attracting considerable attention because the word is being used so much. And people are questioning whether or not it's truly burnout. And it's attracting so much attention because of the consequences, whether it's on staff retention, whether it's on organizational performance, whether it's on individual performance. So when we look at the definition of burnout, right? It's a syndrome of combined emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and reduced personal accomplishment. The emotional exhaustion, it really entails a psychological feeling of being unable to give because of depleted resources from within. When you look at depersonalization, that's when you start to really feel disconnected, right? That you start to detach from yourself, your clients, your family. The reduced personal accomplishment is really when you're starting to feel dissatisfied with yourself, with your job, with your organization. That describes burnout. Again, it's a syndrome. And I know the term gets used a lot. And I know even for us, DL James Consulting, we talk about burnout to breakthrough or burnout to business. And it's because if you're feeling those symptoms, before you really start to spiral and before it becomes a mental health issue for you, you want to make a change and you have to decide on who you are and what you want to do and what's going to be best for you. And that's what the blueprint offers. The blueprint offers you the opportunity for you to choose you. And I know I had a couple episodes ago, I went through step by step of what's inside the blueprint. But with the anniversary of DL James Consulting, the recent conversations that I've had, I wanted to just go back to the roots of my story, which is why I shared my story with you. And I share my story because, I resigned from my leadership role with no plan, no safety net. At the time, I was dealing with burnout and I just felt like I got to go and I'll figure it out later. My frustration honestly had me questioning my worth. After giving so much to the system, it really had me questioning a lot, including who I was. And DL James Consulting really helped me to have my breakthrough. So when we talk about my 4-year anniversary, DL James Consulting I formed the business a couple years ago, like legally. Right. So I took the steps to actually form the business legally. I did legal nurse consulting because I was just consulting. Right. So I was just consulting. So this was before Premier Infusions and Wellness. So I was doing consulting work, and within the company, like I said, I've done legal nurse consulting, which I can still do, but my other consulting work has me busy. And now, fast forward to doing AI consulting, again, in addition to my other services. So we have the consulting umbrella, and something that I was breaking down with the lady who I was speaking with just yesterday. She is mentioning how she wants to do IV hydration, but then people contact her and they consult her for different services. And we were talking about that. Yes, you can be a consultant, right? And I said that to her, but we have to decide on the one thing that we want to do. So we have to realize and think about, what is that one thing? What is that one thing that I'm good at? And then I can expand on. So I've been able to master digital courses, putting together events. Like, all of these things are under the umbrella of DL James Consulting, right? Which has now led to me having a nonprofit organization, the HW Foundation, coaching, mentoring. I coach and I mentor with NASDAQ. So I built up and then I built out. Right. And that's what I try to get and want people to understand. We can't do all the things. DL James Consulting, though it has been around for 4 years, those first couple years, I was figuring it out, right? I was figuring out what it is that I really wanted to do. And when I identified what that was, it was a game changer. And I remember one coach had said, one message on multiple platforms leads to millions. And that was when I got it. And that was so I would say that though DL James Consulting has been in business for 4 years, it took me a couple years to really figure out what it is that I wanted from it. And I'm that person who, I'll build it first and figure it out later. So some of my colleagues may hear me say, like, done is better than perfect. And I had to get to that. Right. I had to get to the done is better than perfect, because a lot of times, especially coming from nursing and especially coming from nursing leadership, with very type A personalities. And what's interesting is, it has to be perfect before we put it out. But that's a program and learned behavior. So I had to unlearn that, because I think that was stalling me going into business as well, or really expanding my business. That was stalling it because I felt like everything had to be perfect. And I didn't realize I was doing that. And again, it took me a couple of years. So when I see the 4 year anniversary, I'm like, yeah, SDL James Consulting has been around for 4 years, but it hasn't always been like officially around, if that makes sense. The official formation was a couple of years ago. But I say all this to say that I've learned some hard lessons, and I quickly realized that without a paycheck, so let's going back to the when I first resigned, I quickly realized that without a paycheck, the pressure is doubled. Like, every decision carried weight. And the truth, nurse leaders are equipped with business skills, budgeting, strategy, managing people, but no one teaches us how to use these skills on ourselves. And that's where mentorship and coaching comes in. So the number one lesson I want you to realize is that I wouldn't wish that kind of leap on anyone. I mean, everyone's situation is different and everyone leaves their circumstances for their own reasons. For me, I have my reasons. However, thinking back, and I honestly wasn't really even thinking about starting a business, right? When I did, it was such a game changer for me. It was such an eye opener for me. But just going back to the lesson, I want to keep this at the forefront. I wouldn't necessarily wish that leap on anyone. And that's why I teach nurse leaders to start building while you still have a job, right? While you still have that security role. And that was the conversation that I was having. Listen, while you have a job, build your business, right? Build your business, and you'd be surprised how you'll start feeling like that weight that you have on your shoulder, because now you have a vision and you have a goal. So how do you reverse engineer that goal? you reverse engineer what are the things that you're going to do. What SMART goal do you have? Like what's specific, what's measurable, what's actionable, what's relevant, what's time bound? I'm going to give myself 6 months to resign from my job. I'm going to start my business in the meantime. I'm going to start a wellness business. I'm going to start an IV hydration business in 6 months. Okay. So, all right. So, and I'm going to do that and I'm going to use this job to fund my business. Because one of the number one things that I get when people want to start their business, one of the number one things that I hear is funding. And I actually we have a Health and Wealth Expo AI edition, Cats Out the Bag, that's coming up in about 4 to 6 weeks. It's coming up. I don't want to say the date because I don't have it in front of me. So I don't want to say the wrong date. More to come with that. We're going to have an AI edition, Health and Wealth Expo AI edition. And we're actually going to have our guest expert is going to be a funding expert. So we're going to have our all access session where you'll be able to get funding. But I say all this to say, work to build your business, right? If you're burnt out, if you start to notice the signs that I shared, if you feel like you're going through that syndrome, start to make an exit plan. What and how long do you want to be there? What looked like the end was really the beginning. And I rebuilt my identity, created new streams of income. So now instead of just teaching, I help nurse leaders by building their systems and their businesses from brand to launch. And we use AI to do it. I help nurse leaders go from burnout to business using AI to remove overwhelm, save time, automate systems, and grow profitable businesses using AI. And I love that. I haven't, completely pivoted. I still coach, right? I still coach. And I'm coaching you to build, right? And we build it for you. So if you're in leadership now and burnout is just tugging at you, you don't have to wait until you're forced out. You can start building your next chapter in 90 days. You can have a model, and in 90 days you can have a model or a system that allows you to do nursing your way. And going back to that same conversation, that was the conversation that we were having, doing nursing your way. So when I talk to people on, our discovery calls of readiness calls, a lot of times I hear the frustration and I hear that they're tired. They're tired of working for someone else because they know the things that they can do and they know the power, they know the expertise that they have. And when I hear it, it's so audible. The pulse is so palpable for me. And this is why I created this blueprint. This is why I have the readiness calls. And if you're ready, the call is a 15-minute call. And this is the call of you saying, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready to start that IV hydration business. I'm ready to start that wellness business. I'm ready to start that consulting business. When you're ready, I'm ready to host events. When you're ready, make the call. Download the blueprint. The blueprint has the link where you can, schedule your readiness call. Because you have to be ready. You have to be ready to really make that leap so that you can start making a difference. And when you're ready, I'm ready and I'm here to support you because I've been there. So the blueprint is your roadmap. It's the roadmap to help you go from burnout to business, and it really walks you through the stages of what you need to do. And that's why I created it. And I created it because it's what I wish I had when I was going through my separation, right? When I was going through my separation, I wish I had something like this in place. And I wish I had someone at that time. I mean, now eventually, yes, that I start to find mentors, that start to find, something else I'll mention. A lot of us as nurses, I mean, I think maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not as much now. Maybe more now than before. I don't know. I don't know if a lot of us as nurses. Well, for me, let me speak for myself. Now, I wasn't really someone who was on social media. I wasn't really someone who. So again, I've been there. I know what it's like when people say like, "Oh, I'm not on social media. I don't do this, and I'm not on social media." Well, that's that organic traffic, but we talk about that in the program. But I say that to say, sometimes I wonder if me not being on social media is how I missed out on the possibility of having a coach sooner in my business because we get so caught up into and consumed into our day to day, every day, and into our own ecosystems. And the social media actually allows you to expand your ecosystem. And that's how I was actually able to find the coaches who I do have. So without me being on social media, I probably would have never really found them. And who knows where DL James Consulting would be right now? Who knows if would have ever launched my IV hydration business? Sometimes we have to start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. For me, 4 years ago, I had no safety net, and you don't need to repeat my mistakes. You can build your business the smart way while you're still in leadership, and you can use AI to do it. And that's what we do. And that's what I can help you with. And that's what I could build for you. You guys know over the next 3 months, we are going to be talking a lot about AI. Some of these episodes may even be a mini, tutorials. So be prepared sometime to watch from YouTube. Right now, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or, iHeart, any of those platforms, that's fine too. But today I just wanted to give you some origin story just to think about where I came from to where I am now. And things has really truly evolved, and that could be you. And you can do it quicker than I did, right? If you are ready to build your AI powered business with automations that can increase your cash flow, that can get you out of the rat race, get you away from the burnout, I want you to download my Burnout to Business Blueprint. It's available at dljamesconsulting.com. The link will be available in the show notes, or you can head over to my LinkedIn profile page, Dr. Lendra James. It's exactly the roadmap I wish I had when I was starting out. Until next time, make sure that you stay educated, stay inspired, and stay empowered.